I spent years believing feeling tired, bloated, and moody and disconnected from my body was normal. It wasn't. And you're not alone. If you're new here, I'm Miriam, a scientist and a nurse, and I help women understand their hormonal rhythms so they can feel more balanced and connected to their body. And today, I want to talk about the early signs of hormone imbalance, why so many women overlook them, and what your body is actually trying to tell you before things escalate. As women, we tend to normalize discomfort. We push through it and keep functioning. Even when our bodies are quietly asking for support, we learn to dismiss obvious signs and symptoms. Telling ourselves it's just part of life, just part of being a woman, little by little, we begin to overlook what your body is clearly communicating to us. That something isn't quite right and deserves our attention. And when we ignore these signs long enough, the body eventually starts to shout out and small issues or discomfort becomes real health issues. One of the biggest misconceptions about hormone is that they only change monthly or during major life stages like pregnancy. In reality, our female bodies and our hormones are incredibly sensitive. Our hormones are shifting every single day. They respond to how well you sleep, what and how you eat, how much stress you're under, how much you move your body, and even what you're exposed to in your direct environment. Your body is constantly adapting to both internal and external signals, adjusting in real time to keep your balance and functioning as well as it can. Many of the signs we experience are actually our body's way of signaling that something deeper may be going on, that our hormone might be out of balance or simply in need of some support. Sometimes these things do resolve on their own, but more often when they are ignored, they slowly build until the body has no choice but to speak louder. I've seen far too many women dismiss these early warning signs, things like persistent fatigue, hair thinning, or low energy, only to later realize that something more serious has been developing beneath the surface. Now, men and women operate on a very different hormonal rhythm. The challenge is that the way our days are structured in society is largely based on a man's 24-hour hormone cycle. Testosterone typically peaks in the morning and declines in the evening, which makes energy, focus, and mood relatively consistent from day to day. Women, on the other hand, operates on a roughly 28-day cycle. Estrogen and progesterone and other hormones rise and fall throughout the month, influencing our energy, mood, metabolism, performance, and even brain function depending on where we are in our cycle. When you think about it, work schedule, productivity, expectation, and even the traditional 9 to 5 routine are designed around a daily rhythm. Female bodies are wired completely different. There are times in the month when we naturally feel more social, creative, energized, and other times when our bodies need more rest, quiet, and recovery. And once you start tuning into your cycle and listening to your body, those shifts becomes impossible to ignore. When you don't understand this, it can feel like you're failing, when in reality, your body is doing exactly what it's designed to do. I know that you've probably felt this without realizing why, but it's true. There are days when you feel social, confident, and energized, and there are days when you just feel more sensitive and inward and easily overwhelmed. Just before your period, you may feel irritable, less patient, more in need of quiet, and then once your period ends, your energy is back and you're spiking again. Before we move on, if you would do me a huge favor and click on the subscribe button below, it only takes 2 seconds and it would mean the world to me. Thank you so much. There are 5 common factors that can disrupt hormone balance, often without us realizing it. Some may be unexpected and some not. And the first one is chronic stress, also known as cortisol overload. This one is one of the biggest contributors to hormone imbalance and health imbalance in general. Stress isn't just mental, it's also hormonal. When stress is temporary, cortisol will rise and fall naturally and readjust. But when stress becomes constant, cortisol stays elevated. Your body uses the same building blocks to make cortisol that it uses to make progesterone and estrogen. So when cortisol demands stay high, hormone production elsewhere will drop. Low progesterone can show up as anxiety, poor sleep, and intense PMS. Estrogen imbalance can lead to mood swings, weight gain, and skin changes. Your body is now constantly prioritizing survival. And this shouldn't happen unless you're running away from an animal ready to have you for the next meal. Now you might be hearing all these symptoms and thinking, oh my goodness, I've got them. I'm actually going to go through the common symptoms of hormone imbalance later in this video. The second major factor that can throw your hormone off is blood sugar instability. Skipping meals, under-eating, or relying heavily on refined carbohydrate and sugar creates spikes and crashes in blood sugar. That constant roller coaster puts pressure on the body to produce more insulin, a master hormone that influences estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. When insulin is repeatedly disrupted, it can show up as craving, fatigue, mood swings, and stubborn weight that feels impossible to shift. And often, these symptoms are mistaken for lack of discipline or willpower, when in reality it's because your hormones are confused and doing their best to keep up. The third factor is poor sleep. Sleep is one of the most fundamental pillars in health in general. Across Western, Eastern, and all the medicine you know of in every healing tradition throughout the history. When sleep is disrupted, it doesn't just affect how rested you feel, it affects everything. Your hormones follow your internal body clock. Melatonin, cortisol, growth hormone, and even your sex hormone all depends on consistent high quality of sleep. When you're not sleeping enough or your sleep schedule isn't consistent, cortisol level rise, progesterone drops, and hormonal imbalance starts to shift, which can show up as changes in weight and a much lower tolerance for stress, when even small things feel overwhelming and anxiety becomes harder to manage. Before we continue, if you find this helpful, I'd love if you took a second to subscribe. It really supports this channel and means more than you know. Thank you so much. Now, the fourth factor is nutrient deficiencies. Hormones are built from nutrients, things like zinc, magnesium, vitamin B, iron, and healthy fats. When your diet is lacking or when your body isn't properly digesting or absorbing these, it simply doesn't have the raw material it needs to produce quality hormone effectively. Over time, this can show up as thinning hair, irregular cycle, low energy, or nails that just don't look or feel as strong as they used to. These physical signs are often your body's final attempt to get your attention, a signal that something deeper may be going on internally, and this doesn't mean that every single symptom automatically points to a problem. It's normal to notice some small fluctuations from time to time, especially around your cycle or after a period of stress. But when these signs start showing up consistently, that's when it's worth looking at it at a deeper level and consider hormone check. Finally, number 5 is environmental toxins. This one often surprises people, but we're exposed to far more hormone disruptors than we think and we realize through fragrances, makeup, skincare products, household items, and even like pesticides in our food. It's important to remember that anything you apply on your skin doesn't just sit on the surface. So when you start thinking about it that way, you begin to look differently at it and at everything you put in your body, from lotions, perfumes, shampoo, anything, soaps. Many everyday product contains ingredients known as endocrine disruptors, chemical that can mimic or block hormone and interfere with normal hormone signaling, especially estrogen and thyroid hormone. Over time, this constant exposure can contribute to imbalances. Even what we breathe in or drink from repeatedly, like plastic containers or cups, can add to this hormonal burden when exposure happens over a long period of time. Some of the most common signs women overlook includes feeling cold when others aren't, increased anxiety, hair thinning, irregular missed period, lack of progress despite efforts, and constant fatigue. Your cycle is your feedback. Your energy is a feedback. Your body is always communicating with you. Learn this. None of these symptoms on their own means something is wrong with you. We all have off days. But when patterns repeat, when you notice the trend, when being tired becomes fatigue, when breakouts becomes chronic, when cycle becomes irregular, that's when it's time to pause and listen. Your body intelligence is designed to heal itself and guide you towards healing. And the earlier you pay attention, the easier it is to restore balance. Let me know in the comment what brought you here. And if you're interested in exploring more about this topic, subscribe to my newsletter. I'll have it linked below. If you like this video, then please share it with your friends that you think would find it useful. Watch this one next. And thank you so much for being here. Remember to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.